For those of us in the room today, please raise your hand to speak. Please remain on mute until recognized. And for COAC members, to the degree that you are able, please keep your video camera on. Others, we ask that you remain off unless you are speaking. For any technical issues, you can call Monica, 503-479-8674. Once again, 503-479-8674. Next slide, please. For our agenda today, we will have an opportunity of having a discussion with our CMGC relative to our early work packages. We'll have a chance to review September 15th meeting notes. We'll receive project updates, and then we'll have public comment and consider next steps and conclusions. Next slide, please. Just a reminder for our overview, general public attendees will be in listen mode only. Today's meeting will be live streamed and recorded via YouTube and will be made public on ODOT's project website, www.i5rosequarter.org. Next slide, please. Just a reminder of our ground rules is for us to let everyone participate by listening to and respecting the diverse views and opinions of others. For us to work to listen with an open mind, to value learning from different input and perspectives, to stay open to new ways of doing things, treating others constructively and respectfully. Again, we are here to tackle challenges, not one another. For us to respect the role of the facilitator to guide the group's process. My role is to ensure that our conversation progresses. For us to attack the problem, not the person, and that disagreement, frustrations, and differences of opinion are acknowledged, explored, and addressed. Next slide, please. You received via email, members of COAC, our last meeting minutes. Any questions, comments, or concerns relative to minutes from September 15th? Okay, hearing or seeing none. Next slide, please. Okay, with that, I will turn it over to Megan Channel, our project director, for updates. Megan.
Thanks, Jonelle, and good afternoon, COAC members. Awesome to see you. Happy 2023. We got an exciting year ahead. This is the year we start construction. So that's super exciting. A couple updates for you, just overall project related. Want to share with you the DBE goals that have been set for our first two early work packages. So that's early work packages A and B that are on the north and south sides of the project area. Got a quick update on just where we are in the environmental review process with the supplemental environmental assessment. And then also just want to give an update on some coordination with partners around the Moda Center and some design conversations that are happening, and then open it up for City of Portland updates as well. So kicking it off with the early work package update. So want to share with COAC today that we have set the goals for early work packages A and B. As you'll remember, if you rewind 2 years ago, thereabouts, we set a project range or a DBE goal range for the project at the 18 to 22% mark. Again, that would be for the overall project, and then acknowledging that we'd be coming back to you once the hard goals for the specific packages are set, as we advance the design of those packages and had a little bit more certainty on their cost estimates. So here we are today with early work packages A and B. Early work package A has a DBE goal of 21%, and early work package B has a DBE goal of 19%. Again, these fall within our 18 to 22% overall project goal. And so kind of excited where these have landed, higher than you, I think, have historically seen on large projects from ODOT. And I want to thank our ODOT Office of Civil Rights for helping us in getting to these goals for the early work packages. Again, their process is focusing on, cost estimates and related to what work can be performed by the DBEs, taking into consideration subcontracting opportunities, DBE availability, past performance, annual, goal overall, and then current projects in the area affecting availability. So all of that goes into the assessment. So just again, wanted to continue to thank COAC for pushing us in this space and helping us set that early project goal range that set us up for success for the specific package ranges here for early work packages A and B. With that, shifting gears into update on the environmental assessment. So for those of you that were tracking, we did publish the supplemental environmental assessment back in mid-November of last year. It was put out for a 50-day public comment period that closed on January 4th. We are still in the process of kind of compiling and counting all of the comments, but we know we're hovering right around 900 comments received during that review period. So the team is working with our partners at Federal Highway Administration to compile and review and prepare responses to those comments. The comments that we receive also will inform our next steps in the environmental process, with that being a decision document from the Federal Highway Administration, which we anticipate to come in spring of this year. So kind of first quarter of 2023 here. So as we learn more, as we're going through the comments, it will inform our next steps. And then just as a note, we will be publishing all of the comments that we received on the project website coming here in the upcoming weeks. And then as part of the FHWA decision document, that's where you'll see the responses to the comments, but at least you'll be privy to everything that we've received to date as we work on the responses to those. So that's what's happening in the environmental world. Want to do a quick update on kind of some stakeholder coordination. So wanted COAC to be aware that we are working closely with Rip City Management, MODA Center, around some concerns that they have articulated around the project design, really specific to pedestrian safety, event operations, and kind of overall district character. So there's been a number of meetings of principals of different agencies, including the city, Metro, ODOT, with Rip City Management. Our Historic Albina Advisory Board has also been part of those conversations as it relates to design, and then as well as Albina Vision Trust, really to talk about what are the concerns, and then recognizing kind of the design concept of hybrid 3 being the community preferred design that came out of the independent highway cover assessment process. What refinements might we be able to make to kind of address the concerns and frankly make the project better while maintaining sort of the continuity of our project values and the community values around making sure that the project continues to, maximize developable land on top of the highway cover for economic opportunity, as well as reconnecting east and west side of I-5 with the street connections, and also getting our community to work. And so that's all at the forefront of these conversations as well. But I wanted COAC just to know that those conversations are happening. More conversations and workshops will be carrying forward through kind of end this month and into early February. City of Portland has been part of those conversations with us too. And Sharon, I see you representing City of Portland. I will turn it over to you to see if you have any additional updates that you'd like to add for COAC today.
Sure. Thanks, Megan. So yeah, I'll just add that the city also provided comments on the supplemental environmental assessment. Our comments really, for the most part, focused on hoping to get to a design that prioritizes people walking, rolling, bicycling, and taking transit, while at the same time looking at traffic management. Our team is still working through traffic analysis and looking at traffic management that provides safe and efficient movement of freight and event traffic as well. So a lot of things happening in this small area, but we're trying to keep our priorities in mind as we work through all the comments. And then also looking at commitments related to the ICA and what the cover development looks like. And that kind of feeds into our ongoing work with the community framework agreement scoping, that we're kind of nailing down a timeline for what that looks like. And we'll continue to be working through that in the spring.
Thanks. And Sharon, I'll also add just from kind of a 2023 change in PBOT leadership, obviously with elections. I don't want to steal any thunder here, but I know we've got Commissioner Mingus Maps assigned to the Portland Bureau of Transportation. So I know that we'll be working together to make sure that we bring our commissioner up to speed on all things Rose Quarter project related. And again, just really continue to be appreciative of the partnership with the city as we move forward. So
thank you for mentioning that. Also, a new director.
Oh yeah, go. Do you want to give that update?
So Director Chris Warner has been called upon by our new governor, and so has, as of this week, reported to Salem. And we have interim director, who was previously deputy director, Tara Wozniak. So yeah, a few changes.
Awesome, thanks. Janelle, I think that concludes our project update. Happy to answer any questions.
Great. Any questions, comments for Megan? James Posey.
Yeah, Megan, maybe I missed something. The Connecting Communities grant. Did you give an update on that? I was just curious what's going on with that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I did not give an update on that because it is still with our federal partners for review. So we submitted a Reconnecting Communities grant application back in October with a request for the $100 million that would be that investment towards the highway cover portion of the project. We're told that we'd hear back late January, early February. That timeline is right upon us. So we're anxious to hear back, but haven't heard any news from the federal partners yet.
Other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Megan. Next up, we will invite Erica Warren to provide an update from HAB. Erica, and I also want to thank Dr. Holtz for being here as well.
Good afternoon, COAC members. Thank you for allowing me to be with you for a moment. Just giving you a quick update on Historic Albina Advisory Board. Our last meeting together officially was in December, and we had a very passionate discussion around next steps and how the community voice will weigh into our collaborative partnership with the city. And so much of our discussion was hearing from the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability in regards to the scoping for the community framework agreement. And so some of those aspects would be about interim uses, who in the community needs to be part of that conversation, what other organizations and partners may need to be a part of the table, how do we broaden engagement to really stay true to the community values and to hold the project accountable to our values of transparency, restorative justice, et cetera, economic revitalization. So we are lending our insight and voice to some of the conversations, as Megan mentioned. Very appreciative to the project and to our partners at the city for elevating that value and leaning into making sure that the community priorities are continue to be represented in the project. So moving forward, we have a bit, not of a pause, but we're working with the urban design team as we have been. But right now it is working to bring our partners up to speed, answer questions, to collaborate as the city is back at the table, and to be a partner in the work in regards to community framing and how we move forward in regards to governance on the cover. So, Janelle, that's all we have.
Great, thank you, Erica. Any questions for Erica? Okay, seeing none. With that, we will now invite our CMGC to provide a discussion and presentation relative to early work packages. And I think, Bill, you're going to tee us off. So welcome, Bill.
Thanks, Janelle. Good evening, everybody. Nice to be here. Bill Bruce here. Going to give y'all an update on early work package A and B first tier subcontracting opportunities. I've got with me tonight also Ivan Castile to talk about work that he's been doing as in his role as the workforce advocate, working with pipeline projects and trying to place people ahead of construction. Also with me tonight is Angela Murphy, who will give will close with a report out on our public information program. As Megan said earlier, we're excited that construction starts this year. That's it's really unique to be involved with a project that has such a long lead in without work. So we're all anxious to get started and being able to present to you tonight the first tier subcontracting opportunities is a sign that actually construction is coming. Next slide, please. So 3 slides, just a quick reminder of what how the project is broken up and which portions we're talking about tonight. The project, as you all may recall, has been broken into 4 pieces from north to south. They are early work package A, followed by C, then MCP stands for the main construction package, and then lastly, early work package B. So tonight we're going to be talking about early work package A. Next slide. As you remember, early work package A extends from approximately Russell Street to the north to the Fremont Bridge interchange. The scope of work entails some at-grade work down on Russell and Kirby with some utilities. And then it involves the widening of the bridge structure that's over the top of Russell, as well as some modifications to 2 or 3 different bridge structures that are connected to the Fremont Bridge and the Greeley structure. Also, we're going to be talking about package B tonight, which is on the next slide. And package B, if you recall, extends from about the midsection of the Moda Center south to the I-84 interchange. And that scope of work also consists of a bunch of at-grade work down on Multnomah and Holiday and Wheeler and First, all around the Moda Center and the Transit Center there. It includes the widening of the bridge structure that we call Holiday Haslow, which is the bridge structure over the top of the light rail system. And then it also modifies and widens several of the freeway structures to the south, approaching the I-84 interchange. So next slide, please. So if you recall from the diversity plan, we agreed on 3 types of procurement that we would use, and these were all developed with the mindset that they would allow us to level the field and produce the best results as far as DB contracting goes. If without me going into too much detail on these three types of procurement, I'll just refer you to page 14 of the diversity plan. There's a whole table there that talks about the details of how we use each one of these procurement methods. But the next three slides, I'm going to talk about the scopes of work that fall underneath these three types of procurement. Best value first being an RFP based combination of price with emphasis on metrics that include workforce, of course. The second one, direct solicitation, which are most of our commodity-based type subcontractors that we're going to procure. And then lastly, low bid with qualifications, which is a combination of qualifications with an emphasis more on price. So let's talk again. We're talking about package A and package B, first tier procurements. So let's go to the next slide and we'll dial you in on what the best value scopes are. And these are all based on the 90% design. That's where package A and B are at the current moment. There's a little over $1 million worth of cast in place concrete barrier that we've already identified 3 or 4 different DBEs that are likely interested in this type of work. There's bridge concrete demolition, which is an area that we think there's some opportunity for some capacity building with DBEs. It's worth about 1.2 million. Temporary barrier, which is all your precast jersey barrier, or some people use the term K-rail. There's $2.2 million of that temporary barrier that will be installed and moved around up on the freeway in order to create the workspaces for the widening of the freeway through A and B. As always, traffic control is a large portion of the work and is a great opportunity for us to achieve workforce goals. There's 3.8 million that we plan on subcontracting. There's actually the potential that this number could grow depending on how successful we are at identifying and putting together a contractor for this scope of work. There's something called carbon fiber reinforced polymer strengthening and rail retrofit work, which we're going to learn something about on this job. I've never seen it before, but it's up on the deck of the new freeway. There's $1 million worth of work there. It's not anything that we don't think there is a DBE that could possibly perform. So again, we're looking at a number of DBEs to introduce to this scope of work as a capacity building opportunity. Rectangular tube retrofit, there's $500,000 worth of that in A and B. That's also an opportunity for a capacity building scope. And then a place where we normally achieve good DBE results is landscaping, and there's $1.4 million worth of landscaping in package A and B. Next slide, please, and we'll talk about the direct solicitations. Now, again, these are mostly commodity-based type scopes of work where contractors are not bidding lump sum scopes, they're bidding rates like flagging rates or trucking rates or sweeping rates. So we think these are opportunities where we can handpick or shortlist DBE companies that perform work, and we have some existing capacity within the Portland region for all of these scopes of work. Earthwork, this earthwork will be separate from the mini prime scopes that have already been awarded. This is earthwork that supports the Hamilton Sunt joint venture as they are drilling shafts for new bridges and excavating for access for large cranes. It's work that will be following around their other major activities. There's barrier paint that will happen up on the freeway. Saw cutting worth about 300,000. There's of course security for the yards that we'll be staging from. There's sweeping and trucking, which are both areas where we historically have been able to not just really do well with DB contracting, but also start some new businesses on the way. The next slide will focus in on the proposed low bid with qualification scopes. So the first one is, it's a long shot, but you know, we're not going to give up on the idea that there might be a DBE that could grow into rebar. There's currently zero or very little DBE capacity in the Portland area for performing rebar, and there's a lot of rebar in package A and B. So although we don't anticipate a great DBE number here on rebar, we're actively trying to get some interest in it, as are several of the other large projects that are going on right now in town. Also, we think there's plenty of capacity out there to do low bid with quals for the freeway concrete and slope paving, which is valued at about $2 million. So the next slide, I have to remind myself where we're going. So proposed schedule for all these first tier solicitations. We're doing outreach from now through February. A couple weeks ago, we presented to NAMAC, and there were about 80 contractors in person and on the call at the Lloyd Center for this same presentation. We presented to PBDG last night, and there again, there were about 80 contractors, some of the same folks, but some very different as well. Interesting side note that there's 3 contracting teams out presenting in these same meetings for the Burnside Bridge. So all of a sudden we're building a lot of bridges in Portland. Invitations to bid are going to be from March through May of 2023 based on the expressions of interest that we get from firms, which we've already collected a whole bunch. And then once we'll make selections in the May timeframe, and then from May through August, the design and the scope will be refined from the 90% to the 100% level. And this is all obviously on 2023. And then, as Megan indicated earlier, we intend to break ground in December of 2023, with construction starting in December and running through most of the work running through September of 2028. Sorry, let me say that a different way. The construction goes from December of this year through September of 2028. However, the majority of the work that we're advertising in these scopes finishes off in December of 2026. So 3 years, not 5. Next slide, please. So you heard Megan talk about the goals earlier. I'm going to restate them in a different way. So that A and B, the combined value for that entire package is approximately 150 million. The total subcontracted value, both DBE and non-DBE, is approximately 67 million. Our anticipated A and B DBE subcontracted portion based on our green sheet is running at about 32 million right now, even though we haven't picked anybody besides the mini primes. Our early work package A DBE green sheet predicts 23%. As you heard Megan said, the ODOT goal is 21%. So we're running about 2 points higher, or we're projecting about 2 points higher than prescribed goal. Early work package B, which is much larger than early work package A. Our green sheet is showing that we're predicting 21% DVE participation, and the ODOT set goal is at 19%. They're again running about two points higher. And then the A and B combined prediction from our green sheet analysis is at 22% when you combine them all up. So let's go to the next slide, please. I also wanted, before I handed it off to Ivan, I also wanted to give you a quick update and reminder that about what's going on with our mini primes. So next slide, please. So previously for package A and B, we selected 3 mini primes, and we've been in the process of onboarding them and getting them under contract and approved at the ODOT home office and the Hampton Sunt home office, and onboarding them. So we currently have them doing constructability reviews for their scopes of work. And, you know, just a quick reminder on package A, we have Advanced Tribal doing walls around Russell Street. We have Just Bucket doing the streetscape package, which includes the utilities in and around Russell Street and Kirby. And we have Agami performing all the work related to the freeway sign bridges. So as we've been onboarding them, we've been inviting them to participate in these constructability reviews. Starting in March, we'll have them estimating the 90% refined plans, which is an update to the plans that these estimates are all based on. And that will be going on through April of this year, March, April. At the same time, we've been really getting to know these firms. We've worked with them prior, but we haven't really had the opportunity to assess them with this amount of work so far out ahead of their firms. These are small firms that normally don't have work that extends beyond 12 months. So here we're now planning with them larger volumes of work that they've previously performed, and these volumes of work are 1 and 2 and 3 years out ahead of them. So it's a new experience. We're providing some technical support and training around forecasting, getting them prepared for additional bonding, for additional volume. And then, of course, although their workloads have not yet increased, we're preparing them and having discussions about what workforce development looks like, and looking for early opportunities to start placing people one at a time where we can. Next slide, please. So that rounds things up on the first tier solicitations that are out there that are coming, and the schedule for that work. And then the activity that's going with the mini primes that are already under contract. I'm going to ask Ivan to talk you through, now that he's been on board for a few months, getting his feet wet. I'm going to ask him to give you an update on workforce engagement.
All right, hello, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Ivan Castile. I'm a workforce advocate here at the I-5 Roads Quarter Project, working for Raymore. Just a little bit about my background. My background is a, local 737 laborer, recently retired. Spent 4 years at apprenticeship coordinating with the Oregon Laborers Union. So I've kind of been around the block a little bit here in Portland, Oregon. My main focus is to help pull people in the community to help them get to work and to a career in the construction trades. Let's speak about our pipeline project. So right now, because our project won't start till late this year, right now we have pipeline projects. My my main focus is to help recruit apprentices for all trades, for all contractors involved with our project. So lately we've been, I've been putting a few apprentices out there at the Willamette Water Treatment Supply that Sun has going. We have different projects as well with Raymore that we'll be placing people at, like the US Post Office and different projects that we have going on. We will continue to help put apprentices in the pipeline project so that they can get some good hands-on experience prior to coming on to the I-5 Roads Quarter project. My main goal is to hit upwards of 75 to 80% retention rates for these apprentices once they come on board. We could go to the next slide, please. So our workforce summary, when I got on board, we had people already kind of in the mix. So assessments to date are right about actually 25 now to update it, but 24 assessments up to date right now that we've gone through, talked to, assessed, and helped place. Out of those 24, we had placed 11 of those. 6 of those were in middle management interns. We have civil engineers working for Raymore, for Sun, and for Hamilton in their offices, helping them learn the project. Some are still in school, so they're doing their internship while they're in school. We do pull through minorities and BIPOC communities through Portland State. We have an ongoing relationship with them. We'll be getting interns through Oregon State as well as U of O. And then we'll be working with PCC as well. We also have 5 craft skilled workers that we have gotten on board now. We have 2 laborers that we put on, 2 carpenters and 1 operator. I basically have 1 carpenter, 1 operator, 1 laborer out at the water treatment plant, and the others are with us at Raymore. I've talked to Leon with Advanced Tribal, and we'll be in touch with Willie. If they need help getting apprentices started on their projects, we will help them out as well. So as of those 5, out of those 11 we placed to date, so far we have 5 people of color, Black, and we have 1 Native American, 4 Hispanic, and 1 Caucasian. We have 7 of those are males and 4 are females. Go ahead, next slide, please. I just want to state that it's very gratifying to help people out and get them into a new career. They all seem to be very excited about their new prospects and new career paths that they're taking. So I will be involved with them throughout their whole experience and help coach them through with anything that they need, any resources also. You know, a lot of the apprentices we get in sometimes need wraparound services to help them make sure that their home life is solid so they can continue with their work life. Our workforce outreach summary, I work quite a bit with Constructing Hope. I have, as an apprentice coordinator with Oregon Laborers, I already have a relationship with the pre-apprenticeship programs that we have here, especially in the Portland metro area. So I work hand in hand with Constructing Hope. I have helped place some laborers, 1 laborer with Sun, and I've placed a couple laborers with the local 737 apprenticeship program. We also work very tightly with Oregon tradeswomen. Sometimes I'm helping out on their mock interviews. We'll go do presentations there and give them the opportunity and expectations what we have available for careers in construction. I also am starting to work with Northwest College of Construction. Quite frequently, I help with the dispatch and recruitment in the Northwest College of Construction. Basically, sometimes if I have pre-apprentices, I can get them through Northwest College of Construction to get them in the open shop. I also am looking when we have closed shop recruitment, I help out with the apprentices there. As far as just to give you an update, like today I went to Portland Youth Build toward their facility to talk with Danny Van Voorhis, who I, again, have another relationship with them. So I'll be working with them, doing presentations there and bringing their students out on the job site so they can see what we got going. If we go to the next slide. Well,
Thanks, Ivan.
yeah, and
Thanks.
that's basically
Thanks
our
for that.
workforce summary. Thank you.
Yeah. And I just want to follow Ivan up, and also just address some of the discussion from last month. We don't normally have a year and a half on every project where we're waiting to start the project, and so this idea of using the time to place people to build workforce ahead of the project is kind of foreign, and the concept of identifying pipeline projects means like we're not identifying every project in the region as a pipeline project. We're only picking projects that we have influence over, because we know we can't find and place and retain bunches and bunches of people and be successful. So we're really being choosy and limiting which projects we pick as pipeline projects. And as much as we want to place equal numbers of open shop and union from all the different crafts, we just haven't had projects yet that allow us to do that. And so, like, to Michael Birch and Tuana's comments last time, I hear you, and we're looking for that project. We actually have one project coming up with TriMet that starts the end of this year that's not on this list, that does have likely union carpenter work on it, which would be probably our first opportunity to intentionally do some work in that arena. So anyways, I just want to follow Ivan up and reinforce, from my vantage point, being able to place 11 people out of 24 assessed feels to me like, for what we're doing, feels like the right level of activity where we can be successful and retain people versus trying to do more than we're really capable of. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Angela Murphy, who is running our public involvement campaign, and she's going to give you an update on everything that she's got going on.
Thanks, Bill. Good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to share just a quick update about the HSJV's engagement that's currently underway. We started last year attending a number of community engagement events where we had tabling opportunities. We worked in partnership with a larger project communication team, and were able to engage with a number of different communities throughout the year to provide project information and just start to disseminate some information about workforce opportunities and our DBE goals. We also, under the guidance and leadership of Jeff Moreland at Raymore, we continue to expand our community engagement strategy, and we've developed kind of a multi-pronged approach to reach our community where they are and provide engagement opportunities and support, and also just work to help with workforce goals and support the diversity and subcontracting plan. In coordination with Kairos PDX, their charter school that's located fairly close to the project, we completed our first school-based outreach program, and it is the first in a series of school-based outreach engagement efforts underway. The program that we completed was at Kairos PDX that's located on North Gantbite Avenue, just south of Alberta. And they have a diverse student body with roughly 70% being children of color. And through a program that they have called a Community Action Session, we partnered to support their school in an effort to expose students to additional science, technology, engineering, art, and math programming. Thanks to many members across the project team, we were able to work with nearly 30 fourth and fifth grade students to share the principles of engineering and construction and how it all ties into what they're learning now. And this was all presented through the lens of this project. students had the opportunity to learn more about careers associated with the project, as well as just an introduction into city and project planning. And they also had a little look behind at the tech involved in project design, and almost most importantly, an introduction, thanks to Erica and Dr. Holt, about local history and the importance of community engagement. They also did a quick brainstorming session where they identified what they would want to see built in their community in the future. And in addition to kind of some fun ideas like a donut factory or video game stores or pizza shops, they had some really smart suggestions, including better sidewalks, bike racks, better lighting at night, homeless shelters, transit stations, and better access to grocery stores. So it was a great opportunity to work with those students. We wrapped that up at the end of November, and we are going to be heading back to Kairos for another 10-week program in the spring. Next slide, please. We're going to continue our school-based outreach. We have developed a number of partnerships that are going to start this year. The first is with Portland Public Schools, and it's tied to their career and technical education program. We are going to be working with them to reach students K through 12 across all of their schools throughout the region. And there's a whole host of activities that we have planned. For the younger students, it'll really be about engaging them on what career opportunities or careers there are associated across the project. With middle school students, we're going to have the opportunity to have a little bit more engaging topics on construction and engineering. And then with our high school students, we're going to be working specifically with the CTE teachers at the high school level. And it will be across nearly all of the high schools in Portland Public Schools. We have identified some target high schools to reach populations that we have marked as a priority. And so we'll be working with Benson, Jefferson, and Roosevelt as our priority schools, as well as working with Grant, Franklin, McDaniel, Cleveland, and IB Wells, as well as Lincoln. We are kicking off that partnership on January 31st when we're hosting the CTE team for project tours. And in the fall, we're planning an academy for 11th and 12th graders identified in the CTE programs across the district to do some near-peer mentoring with interns and young professionals that are working on the project. And so that'll be coming in the fall of this year. We've also started conversations with individuals both at Portland State University, and we're establishing new connections and partnerships with folks at the community colleges throughout the region. Lastly, we are working with Erica and Dr. Holt. Right now, we're in the early stages of developing outreach and engagement efforts surrounding faith-based outreach. And so we'll have more on that at the next meeting, but those engagement efforts are in the works. And just one final note, we do have some potholing work that's coming up to identify underground utilities. We have put together a notice that we'll be taking out to properties that are adjacent to that work in the coming weeks. So that's a quick summary of the public involvement work that we have to date.
Thank you, Angela, and that really concludes our presentations. If anyone has questions or comments, we're here for you.
And I think if we could pull the slide up, I thought we had a discussion question, if I recall, to get folks' thoughts pondering. Maybe we didn't. Okay. With that, we'll open it up. That was a lot of material, thoughts, comments, questions for our CMGC team. James Posey. You're muted, sir. James, you're muted.
Yeah, I said I wasn't going to say much in this meeting because I talk a lot. You already know that. But on the on the community outreach piece, I'm the last one to want to put any burden on the community outreach and, your workforce area. But what I see is missing is the work with our prison population, and being able to predict people coming out and working with the prisons. The previous governor pardoned, or actually, pardoned about 45,000 people who had marijuana convictions. And I'm thinking some of those people would look like me, or in those penitentiaries and serve time when they shouldn't have had to serve time. I just was hoping somebody would go through that list and find out if there's anybody with construction, predisposition for construction, and maybe give them a leg up in the process of recruiting. I don't know how that would work or what it would look like, but I think that prison look at that. Okay. Similar. Okay. Well, similar is the military. We got NAV vets and these veterans organizations who could provide some, maybe provide a list of people who potentially, and I'm not saying this is easy stuff, but I think we don't want to miss those opportunities to try to look at a base for trying to recruit people who come out of our community, who've gone into various situations that they were forced in, but would maybe be in a position to maybe take on or be in a position to do some of this work we're talking about. So I'll leave it at that. And those are my two areas that I have some concerns about.
Yeah, if I could respond to that, James. When I got in, I reached out to Oregon Youth Authority, and they've reached back out to me. So we are scheduling a visit out there so I can help mentor some youth that are in the system. I also reached out, constructing Hope, right? They're right down the street, and we have people through the population coming through the incarceration and different avenues of redemption. Okay. And so we do get people through there. I am all willing to reach out to the prison systems. We do have felonies quite a bit, actually, that I help recruit and get them into the trades and a career in the trades. So that is a constant, and we are constantly reaching out. And I'll continue to do more. If you have any suggestions, send them my way. I'll be glad to check it out.
Great. We have Tawana.
Thank you, Janelle. Just to tag on to what Ivan said, I was going to mention Constructing Hope, where the group that comes in there generally has had some previous incarceration. Also, the other thing that we do as carpenters, we actually are partnered with the federal parole. So there are several members that go into our apprenticeship program that are on federal parole, but we work to get them in as well. And we also have a focus on veterans. So, as things progress in the workforce, there's more of a need for carpenters in the workforce. You'll begin to see a lot of the people in the workforce who have been previously incarcerated and or are veterans. And I just want to say thank you, Bill. The report was good. I'm glad to see the numbers going in the direction that they're going.
Jeff, and then Angela.
Yeah, Posey. So there's a lot of stuff going on in that population. We've been actively recruiting in the adjudicated, the prison population for a long time. So we're tied. Terrence is still involved. because he's tied to the community and he's actively in that vein. And then you have the Going Home 2 program, which is Mike Fester's program. So we're tied to all those. We're talking all the time. We place people all the time when we get, people that come to us. So we just haven't made it. We haven't integrated that into what we're doing collectively yet outside of Constructing Hope. But yes, we are very tied to that population as well.
Angela?
Not to belabor the topic, but we also work with, we're working with an expungement clinic through PSU. So when they have expungement clinics that they're running, we're looking to have tabling opportunities to talk about workforce and engagement on the project. So we're actively working with existing programs that assist that population specifically, where we can get exposure.
Other questions, comments for our CMGC team? Michael Birch?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Ivan, I did not see POIC in your list yet. So are they on your radar? Okay.
Yes, they are, very much so. I've been trying to reach out to Charles quite heavily. I know POIC's kind of went through some changes. So yeah, I'll be actively going. I have to go in there in person because he's not answering the phone. So definitely, I got a great relationship with Charles. We and I have worked together quite often, and I placed, when I was at the Labor, I placed quite a few people through POIC, and they're doing great. And James, just to mention, today I had a man in my office who was through the system and looking for work, and so I helped him out, and I directed him where to go, where to apply. And then on the expungement thing, today I was at a job site visiting, and one of the guys from Constructing Hope was on his way back to Constructing Hope to help him expunge part of his record. So it's a constant with what we're bringing in recruitment, but I appreciate your comments on that, and send me any resources I'll look into.
Yeah, I just want to say it was easy and everybody would do it. So I know you guys are doing all you can, but this is a population that we really have to be intentional about. And so that's the only thing I'm trying to say, guys. I don't want to cast any aspersion on what you guys are doing, because I know you're doing your deal, but it's just one of those things. It's a hard nut to crack, and we got to be intentional about it. I'll leave it at that.
Other questions, thoughts, comments? Quiet group today. Either that or the presentation was just so thorough that, and it was a very thorough presentation, Bill. One of the things I'll just note is, as you all are, I think the expungement clinic is a great thing. But as you all sort of implement some of these other measures that are leading to success, for us to, as a project, to identify how we can showcase that information with some of the other projects in the region in terms of best practices. I think that's going to be so critically important, particularly as we look towards IBR as well. Okay, seeing all other questions or comments, we're gonna end early today, I think. Megan, anything else to add before we get to public comment?
The only thing I want to add is just to re-emphasize, this is the year we start construction. And I'm really excited about that. And we wouldn't be here starting construction this year if it weren't for partners such as yourselves. So just a wholehearted thank you to our COAC, to our HSJV team, to Jonelle and our broader engagement team as well. It's exciting. COAC's been, are we coming up on 4 years this year?
Oh, has it been 4 years?
I think
that cannot even be possible, but I think
maybe
you're right.
3. I don't know. Anyway, it's been a number of years. And we've been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. So it's super exciting to be at the point where we get to kind of put it into action. So just thank you.
Also, go ahead, Jen. Suppose he was going to actually congratulate you on becoming NAACP president as well. So congrats to COAC member James Posey.
You mean to say you give him my condolences, is what you really want to say. Listen, the only other thing I want to mention, Megan, and I brought this up before, is we don't have all our people on this COAC. You're gonna have to do some recruiting, and I mentioned to you this before, Megan, we need to get some of these other people like Legacy. We got to get some community people that, I mean, the business association, we're missing several people. I think Lee Fleming is gone and blah. We don't have our full complement. Most of the people here now are presenting, there's a JV up in this joint. So you got to get on out there and kick it, Megan. I hope I know it's all in jest, but I'm seriously, we need to get some more people on this COAC.
Yeah, I totally hear you, James. And we've been trying. I don't know, Janelle, if you want to kind of give an update on the efforts we've sort of made thus far.
We have reached out to a number of folks, and so there are a number of conversations. James, maybe we can talk additionally offline. As you can anticipate, with all of the requests in our community, folks are kind of burned out. So I think there are some opportunities of perhaps dusting off our existing list and seeing who might be some others we can go after. But we have been working to actively recruit, and so far have not been successful.
So one of the things is to get this on the record and in writing. It's easy to say people are not showing up, but I really want to know who is turning this thing down. I mean, we talk vaguely about this, but I'd like to see who it is that you're asking and why they're turning it down and what we need to do to make this work, John.
Yeah, we can have obviously we're not going to publicly shame folks, and
who said anything about shaming anybody? Who said anything about shaming anybody, man?
Some folks are. Despite as much as we all like working with you, I'm wondering if that's a factor.
I'm not trying to shame anybody.
One thing I will just offer up to folks is if you have recommendations in terms of specific people, please do send that to Megan and myself. We have started a robust list, and we can maybe talk more about that offline without pointing out all the folks who have declined. So Dr. Hennessy?
I just wanted to respond to what President Posey just said. I've talked to at least 20 people recently, and they said, if you, James Posey, and Michael Birch are on it, I don't want to be bothered. I just want to be real clear.
Well, I'm resigning tonight. Please accept my resignation.
I doubt that's the reason. But your point is well taken. We have taken that to heart. But I think it is it's just sort of a climate that is difficult for recruitment for these types of things. But also an opportunity for us to try again. So let's keep working at it. If we can get our public comment slides up, we'll progress forward here. Next slide, please. Just a reminder for those who would like to make public comment verbally, you may dial in now, 971-247-1195. You'll want to enter the meeting ID 880-3045-7705 and the passcode 518722. You'll be placed in a virtual waiting room until it is your time to speak. You may also leave a voicemail, 503-470-3127. Speakers will have 2 minutes for comments. Please state your name and speak slowly. Speakers may also state, I wish to remain anonymous. You also have an opportunity of emailing written comments at i5rosequarter@odot.oregon.gov. You may also submit via the project website at www.i5rosequarter.org. In the subject line, please indicate COAC public comment. All comments and questions will become a part of the public record. I think I'm asking Monica. Monica, do we have any public comment, or whoever is managing that? Do we have any public comment?
No public commenters at this time.
Okay. Next slide then. Tempest, if you can just let us know if we receive public comment. Megan, would you like to offer any final thoughts?
Not any more than what I said, other than just expressing thanks and excitement for our construction starting this year. So yeah, and it has been 4 years. We started in March 2019, coming up on 4 years. So here's where we get to do the fun stuff.
It's amazing that 4 years has gone by this fast. So there you go. Anything else before we wrap up from anyone by COAC? Anyone from the CMGC? Any final comments? Okay, seeing or hearing none. Thank you, everyone. We will see you at our next meeting. Have a great evening. Thank you.